Welcome back to Hillbilly Pillars. It's time for part 2 of my countdown of my 20 favorite Springsteen songs. If you missed the first one, check it out, especially if you're a Tracks fan. Spoiler alert. But I'm going to hit the ground running here with my top 10, starting out with a classic and kind of setting the stage for the bigness of the second half of my countdown, and that is Backstreet's off Born to Run. There were two phases to my Springsteen fandom, and the first one was just getting into Bruce in his studio and his studio albums, and seeing myself in the songs and kind of identifying that. And that was when I was 15, 16 years old, and then the second part came a little later. I think I was still in community college. And a friend of mine who had recently joined me on a trip to Tulsa had went to like a record show, and he came back with a bootleg CD. And I was from a pretty small town, just kind of naive of what that even meant. And it was a show from 1973. It was called Small Town Boy. And you listened to it, and it was this other world. That was like the Bruce you knew, and then there was this mystic kind of magical thing that was on this CD, and that was kind of like stage 2. And that was really, to me, kind of the opening of me really having a lifelong, deep love affair with music, is once I got into Springsteen bootlegs. And where I'm going with this is Backstreet's is a perennial staple of the majesty of that. Kind of the most epic Bruce things I've ever heard are the Backstreet's performances from the 78 tour. He would usually have a coda where he would talk. Maybe it would go on for 10 minutes, and the slow driving music would build up. And so it's wrapped up in that. But outside of that, it would not be one of those, even if I were to be like, I would do this live version or whatever, I would still take the Backstreet's off of Born to Run. To me, it's kind of like the perfect between point of the romantic kind of poet, wild and innocent Bruce, and the getting to what it means to be an adult and sacrifice an adult living in darkness on the edge of town. It kind of comes to those two places perfectly. And then, a lot of things, including his documentary and him talking in interviews and books about the making of Born to Run and everything, is just, he was so down to the note, like over and over again, hashing all this. And Backstreet's is, to me, like the best version of an orchestrated, that considered Springsteen track. It is epic, from the kind of classical vibe piano opening to the crescendos towards the end. Backstreet's is a monster of a track, and kicks off my top 10. So number 9. Madam Morris Banks off Devils and Dust. There was a DVD or something extra back when Devils and Dust came out, and I may get the date wrong. I think it was 2005, 2006 or something like that. Is that right? I don't know. But, and as part of a bonus, there was a clip of Bruce doing Madam Morris Banks, just solo acoustic. And it has always been, since I've seen it that first time, my favorite solo Bruce clip, performance, recording. It's remarkable. If you go on YouTube and just search Madam Morris Banks, it's the like Springsteen Vivo, whatever that is, clip that comes up. They use that now as an official thing, and it's like live vocals on it. It's incredible, and it's such a fascinating device that he uses in the song to tell the story of a man who's crossing the border between Brownsville and Matamoros. And it tells the story backwards. And first from the vantage of his love, who's telling the story about, like, it starts off with his dead body and the turtle eating the skin from his eyes so they lay open to the stars. It's incredible crafting on the song. And then the last two verses are of the man who dies, talking about his heart being full as he's, searching for this new life that he's going to build with his love. And it ends with a a shout rings out and into the river he dives. That kind of hints that maybe it was like a border patrol person or something, and that's how he meets his end. But it's heartbreaking and beautiful, and I just incredibly moving song for me. So at number 9, I've got Matamoros Banks. Number 8, I want to like be cool and not have this, but there's just no way. It would be a disingenuous list, and that is the title track of Darkness on the Edge of Town. I think this is, if there's a mission statement for the entire Springsteen catalog, it's this song. And it's actually the closing verse in this song. Tonight I'll be on that hill because I can't stop. I'll be on that hill with everything I got. Lives on the line where dreams are found and lost. I'll be there on time and I'll pay the cost for wanting things that can only be found in the darkness on the edge of town. It's a remarkable album closer. I had some recent thoughts. I saw a clip of MJ Linderman. I've heard some of his stuff. He's a real super popular new artist now, and can kind of dig it. And I really think apparently just as like a human person being, he's like just a super awesome dude. And there was a clip of him, and it may have been like with another band where he did Darkness on the Edge of Town, and it was pretty cool. But I've always thought that might be like one of the toughest songs you could ever try to cover, because it is just wholly Bruce. And it's like anyone else doing it, it would just be absent like the earnestness and integrity that was into the writing of that song. It is of one with Springsteen. So yep, I'm going to go with Darkness on the Edge of Town, and that is at number 8. And now I'm thinking I have 7 songs above that, but I do. And number 7 is off Lucky Town. That's right. And I have Living Proof. I would say that this is probably my pick for like Bruce's most unheralded song. I think it's just like flat out, no excuses needed, great. I think it's the best song of the Human Touch Lucky Town era. He's singing reportedly about the birth of his first son, but it's about a father who's welcoming a son into the world, and he goes into all the hardness and difficulties of how he got to this point, in a solid relationship with this son, and the redemption found in it, and how the world out there is a hard and rough place. But now they obviously have a duty in front of them, and that's to protect this boy sleeping in their bed. And, he talks about his relationship with this woman, and he's like, and like a middle verse thing, and it was, you shot through my anger in a rage to show me that my prison was just an open cage. There were no keys, no guards, just one frightened man and some old shadows for bars. Yeah, that hits me deep. I am a father twice now. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I just recently adopted a son who I got to name Henry Porter from the Bob Dylan song. I will always mention that because that might be the thing I'm most proud of my entire life, that I got away with that. But having Henry now and revisiting Living Proof and the song about a son, it hits deep. And I got no qualms about it actually being where it's at number 7. Moving on, number 6, the cream of the crop for poetic romantic Bruce to me, Incident on 57th Street. But real quick, actually, I was looking at my notes. I want to go back to one thing on Living Proof. On this one, I do have a favorite version. I would still go with the album one, but he performed this on Saturday Night Live. And it was a big deal because everybody was anticipating Bruce is going to be on Saturday Night Live, absent the E Street Band. And it's everybody first experiencing that. What's this other band going to look like? What's it actually going to sound like live? How is he going to be live dynamically without the E Street Band? And he did, I believe it was 3 songs. One of them was 57 channels. That happened. Not a favorite. I forget. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was Better Days, or I don't remember what the second, but the last song he did was Living Proof. And it was with what my brothers and I like to jokingly call the Wiggly Band. His guitar player, I can't believe this is actually a guitar player's name, Shane Fontaine. I think that's right. And I think it was actually his name. I don't think he like decided that was his name. Like, big old permy long black hair and just the wiggliest guy, just hip shaking guitar player guy. It was super off-putting. And then he had a very stand-up straight bass player who wore like a bolo hat, and he would also kind of have a wiggle. They were just a wiggly band. But anyway, it is Bruce having the type of stakes I think he had back when it was like all the pressure, Born to Run, you got to get right, you're not going to have a career. It's like, can I prove myself in this format without the E Street Band? And he gives it everything. It's an SNL clip, so it's buried, but you can just go and Google it and you'll see it. I think Vimeo, someone has it on Vimeo, and for whatever reason, artists can't seem to get to Vimeo to take it down. So I would strongly suggest checking that out. 1, for the Wiggle Band, and 2, just for the killer performance. To me, that kind of solidifies Living Proof is great. Anyway, all right, going back. Poetic Romantic Bruce, An Incident on 57th Street at number 6. Yeah, I think this goes back to also those bootlegs, and just, it's the most studio version of that magic that was kind of caught up in all those earlier performances from like 72 to 75. Spanish Johnny and Puerto Rican Jane. It's got a Romeo and Juliet New York City vibe. It's got a slow burn. It's an early hint at Bruce's like capacity to be like, these are not perfect people living in perfect worlds, and they're just kind of digging, at that stone, trying to get blood from it, and just trying to find, maybe in that sense, a way out together. And it's just such a beautiful track, and it kicks off that entire preposterous side of the Wild and Innocent and E Street Shuffle, which is just Incident and Rosalita and New York City Serenade. And kind of like I did in Living Proof, my favorite version of this one is off, I remember the bootleg title, Saint Incident Main Point Shuffle. I think it's live at the Main Point 1975. And I don't know which of these have or haven't been released on his, where he's releasing all those old shows. I think it's on Nugs or something like that. But it has a violin on it on the live version. And then at the end, and it's what he opens the show with. So he opens with this, like, oof. And it has a like actual police siren at the end. It's, that's just, it's perfect. It's like, oh, it's such a killer moment. So that's number 6, going back to The Wild and Innocent with Incident on 57th Street. Now my top 5. Number 5. If you tied me down and had to say best, I think this would what I would consider Bruce's best song, and that's Atlantic City. Perfect structure. Like, perfect is obviously a ridiculously overblown word, but just perfect structure, perfectly written, perfectly delivered. Just, it is, Atlantic City's a flawless song. I think that's reflected a lot in how often it's covered. And I'm kind of one of those guys, there's nothing like the OG. And he's done it full band in a lot of different ways, but give me that Nebraska version every single time. In the running for just the best opening couplet of any song I've ever heard. They blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night. They blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, they're getting ready for a hell of a fight. Gonna see what them racket boys can do. You want scene setting? I think I commented this on maybe it was a digital gramophone count, on that digital gramophone countdown when I was watching it before, said this is, I mean, he just immediately, it's like, this is a Martin Scorsese film. And this guy's down and out, and he's met a little guy, and he's going to do a little favor for him. Everything dies, baby, that's a fact, but maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Yeah, Atlantic City, all-timer song. Number 4, going back to the Ghost of Tom Joad, Sinaloa Cowboys. This one, it just is a special one to me. I think it's the nature of the brotherhood in it, and the love between these brothers and a father. 2 young men across the river, just looking to work and build a life. Their father warns them, for everything the North gives, it exacts a price in return. They come across some men from Sinaloa who can pay them in one 10-hour shift what they can make a whole summer busting their asses doing the work the Quaalos wouldn't do, helping to cook meth. And I hold no judgment in that they decide to do that. I think I would do the same in that environment. And one of the brothers dies doing it. And the song ends with his brother digging up all the money that they had saved, which was $10,000, and burying his brother in that pit where the money was. And it gets in and out perfectly. I think it's really great in that narrative way. It's just like a slice of a story. Like if there was a bigger book or movie, it would be this long drawn out from when they were kids and who the father was and all this. But this is just a short picture of kind of like the end game of that in that last verse. And Sinaloa Cowboys hits me deep. That's I guess that's obvious. All of these top 5 Springsteen songs do. All right, we are now in the top 3. There are 3 songs that I've kind of singled out in my life. I think every time I hear them, I get a little tear. I cry up a little bit. I mean, I'm a crying guy. Ain't scared. But these every time get me. One is "He Never Got Enough Love" by Lucinda Williams. Go listen to that. Just go listen to that. Number 2, this is in relation to my daughter. A very influential album for me that was in my top 25 is "Other Voices, Other Rooms" by Nancy Griffith. And she does the song, a cover of the song "Turn Around." And it's about a parent just in these pictures in time seeing a young girl grow, and that one hits my dad heart. And then the other one is Bobby Jean. It is, to me, the essential kind of Born in the USA song. It's driving, it's upbeat, you can release it, you can get a top 10 single out of it, and it's heartbreaking, and it's incredibly sad. There's a victory in the sadness, in the goodbye of the song, because the narrator's out there doing what he wanted to do. But it just tells the story of best friends, and it could be a love interest or not. A lot of people, I'm not sure if it's been verified by Bruce, but that was kind of written. He and Miami Steve was starting to go his own way at this time, and just they've been lifelong friends and like brothers in music and all that. So it's kind of like an ode to him. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just a perfect, to me, friendship song. Maybe maybe you'll be out there on that road somewhere, some bus or train, traveling alone in a hotel room. There'll be a radio playing. You'll hear me sing this song. If you do, I'm thinking of you and all the miles in between. And I'm just calling one last time, not to change your mind, but just to say I miss you, baby. Good luck, goodbye, Bobby Jean. Whoo! Just a heart wrencher, and I better walk away from this one, or I'll start sad boy crying right in front of all y'all here. Number 2, going back to tracks one more time, and this is being into Bruce and Bob Dylan being my main guy. There's a world just between those two guys of songs like I can't fathom in any world that you didn't put this on a record. Just impossibly great songs. I even think more so with Bob, because sometimes it's just songs that would just completely, totally fit in the record. I can understand there's like great songs that Bruce didn't include on records because didn't quite fit into the flow of the album. There's more consideration of that. That one I can understand a little more, but I think this is probably the number one, and that is Loose Ends. Because it's a River outtake, and it is, you know, the River was kind of like a big album where they included a lot of different songs, and I think it is Bruce's greatest pop song. It just absolutely comes out like a rocket with this boom, 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 and the verses, you know, Loose Ends is man and a woman in their relationship just, you know, choke the life out of them. It's like we held a noose and darling without check, we pulled till it grew tighter around our necks, each one waiting for the other to say when. Well, you can meet me tonight on the loose end. It's just a perfect song. I remember there was a lot of, you know, when back in my Bruce bootleg time, a lot of talk about these outtakes and songs. This is before tracks ever came out, and Loose Ends was always one mentioned way high. And for whatever reason, I really was strong into the live Bruce stuff, obviously, as I've talked about, but the like studio outtake stuff, I didn't seek out. My friend Josh, who had introduced Bruce bootlegs to me, he did. I mean, he was all about everything. But so I didn't experience this song until tracks, and you know, I'm kind of glad because you know, it's obviously just like as well done as it can be, you know. And yeah, I say it without any kind of like trying to be cool and picking outtake. Loose Ends is my second favorite Bruce song, and then number one, and I kind of laughed. It's like, you know, that joking meme about a thing, you know, it's inevitable. I actually ended up with the same number one as Digital Gramophone. There's just no way, when I was going through my mind, this couldn't be it. And that's The Promised Land from Darkness on the Edge of Town. I think in a lot of the same ways I said about the title track. It's Holy Bruce. It is a Springsteen mission statement. It is alive, it burns. And I remember going back to also the memories of that reunion tour, and it was clear from then and has been sent throughout the rest of the tour that your vibes of being into Bruce and stuff at the time, in this weird window that I did, that I came into fandom while he was on hiatus from the E Street Band, is that, you know, he verified that the opener, Badlands, the Promised Land, the, you know, the opener, the second side, and then the closer, Darkness on the Edge of Town, are really, really, I think, the heart of his discography. Those three songs, it just endlessly return to those live, and there is a victory and a raucousness in the harmonica that comes in the song in the middle part, and then especially the end. And the live versions from that 78 tour, any of them, I would pick the one from Winterland 78, the harmonica solo towards the end is just like the most joyous live thing you'll ever see.